Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of the Nat Bros podcast. This one is just Andrew and I talking about some of the latest news, talking about Johnny Depp and Elon Musk. And so I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it.
So I did watch a little bit of Johnny Depp trial Fiasco. I can relate to the whole, trying to retreat away from it because it's going to blow up. Like, I can relate to that 110%. And then, like he said, like if she follows me, then of course it's going to get worse. So he would just leave or lock himself in the bathroom. I mean, I've seen that before, 110%.
Yeah.
It's either run out the door or take the assault or abuse. So,
Well, it's either. So, like, I think with him, I think it's either like take the like what happened with him. So, what the trial is over right now is defamation.
Right, he sued her.
Right. Over.
Because she made a comment. And he did. He lost a whole bunch of, like, the new Disney movie coming out. The new Harry Potter movie.
Yep.
Like,
so Pirates of the Caribbean 6.
Pirates of the Caribbean 6, yeah.
And he also lost, the
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes.
Well, now it's going to be the Adventures of Dumbledore or something like that.
No, something about Dumbledore. Yeah, the Secrets of Dumbledore or something like that.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suing Amber Heard for defamation. Now, the idea there is that because she had posted stuff online, like I think in early 2018 or even like 2017 or something like that. Or
she had an interview or something like that, if I remember correctly. It was 2018.
She did an interview in 2018, but she was posting stuff before that about how terrible Johnny was treating her and that he was abusing her and all this stuff. And this is right during the moment of the Me Too movement, right? Like Harvey Weinstein comes out or people come out against Harvey Weinstein, who's a producer there, and they were like, he's done this, this, and this, and turns out that it was true. And so it was, but it was almost like it was a witch hunt of like epic proportions. And there were a lot of people who got jettisoned out of Hollywood because of this. And I think that they rightly should have been. But the problem was, it was like any woman who brought anything up against any man was all of a sudden lauded as like heroic. And oh my God, she's so great. And I can't believe she's so brave and stuff. And so when Amber Heard comes out with her stuff about Johnny, then it was like, oh, Amber, everybody loves you or so. And even I remember when it first came out, I was like, really? Like, because I really enjoyed Johnny as an actor. I really enjoyed the stuff that he's done. But, like, they were
honestly, I didn't believe it when I first heard it.
I wasn't sure because, to me...
He doesn't strike me as the... I don't know. Like, he just doesn't strike me as that type of person. I'm not saying I know him personally, but it's just, his character, like when Bush was in office, I remember he moved to France and wouldn't move back. Like he wasn't sitting there making a big old fuss and cuss and all that. He just moved out of the country. I mean, it was like he kind of strikes me as a pacifist protester almost.
I got you. Yeah, he kind of does. And just you can only really think about Jack Sparrow or they're all like,
well, he abused his wife. I mean, did he, or was it more like self-defense and he was just defending himself,
Well, see, and even to that extent, it was odd. The problem was, the biggest issue was, most people, and especially social media, mainstream media, even now there are still people who are out there still accusing Johnny of doing something to Amber Heard in order for this to happen. Like, they're still out there, even though there's evidence that Amber was the one who was the abusive one. Like, Johnny may have said terrible things to her when they were angry at each other. He may have, I would like to see anybody tell me try to have such a disruptive and such a problematic relationship and not say something really terrible. I mean, like I was just reading an article from the New York Post from this woman who was talking about how Johnny, so I'm not going to read it, verbatim, but basically there were certain text messages that Johnny had that like described Amber Heard as the waste of a um, sperm guzzler. Okay. Yeah, dude. And a dangling, overused, flappy fish market. Do you, do you know what
Hmm.
he's yeah, okay, okay. So you know what he's referring to. And then he would set her on fire and then do certain things to her corpse. And so
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple messages like that I saw too on the news or on the actual trial, and
yeah. And,
you
and
know,
and to an extent, like not saying that those are good and not saying that these are great things to be saying. However, like I would like anybody to tell me, like, if you're in an abusive relationship, I would like anybody to tell me how are you not going to say terrible things about the other person? Like, how is that not going to happen? Right? Like if she's beating on you, and then on top of that, I mean, I'm very curious when these things, like when these text messages came out, like were they pre her going out and saying that Johnny's beating her, or were they post that? Like was it during this whole fiasco? Was it around the same time? Like, is it because of those text messages that she went out and started posting all this stuff on social media that he was doing these terrible things to her? I mean, it's like she goes out and she tries to get more fame, and theoretically she does get more fame. I mean, she's in Aquaman, which like for me, just kind of like out of pure protest, like I'm not gonna go and watch that because like I love Jason Momoa. I think that he's a great actor and I enjoy him in things that he's done, but I can't go and support her, like, because this is one of those things where you end up doing you end up ruining somebody else's you end up ruining somebody else's life, and everybody's like, oh, okay, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you went out and you blamed Johnny for stuff that he didn't do, but you were the aggressor and you were the one beating him. But everybody else is like, oh, okay, it's acceptable. So when I had heard about it, like back then, when I had heard about this happening, for me, I was like, maybe it's true, because I was surprised because like Kevin Spacey also got accused of doing certain things, and so when Johnny Depp was accused, I was like the biggest one that like really blew me away was Bill Cosby. I guess like for me personally, like when Bill Cosby got accused of having sexual relations with women, or like uh, uh, slipping something into their drink so that they not get knocked out. I was like, what? I'm like, that blew me away big time. Like Kevin Spacey, I was like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? Like I guess, but when I found out that Bill Cosby had that happen, that floored me. Like I was like, man, like that was probably the biggest one. And so when I found out that Johnny had potentially been doing this, I was like, man, I mean, it might be. But then hearing him fighting back, hearing him going and actually showing that no, 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 he wasn't the abuser, he was the abused. And I was like, oh man, like this is how bad things have gotten, is where now, and this too. The woman ends up getting all of the sympathy,
oh
all
yeah,
of the law, all of the courts in her side, in her ring. Everybody goes to the woman's. Oh, and to an extent, I understand why, because generally the men are the ones who are stronger, more powerful, potentially more aggressive. Yes, of course, we've been talking about that, but the problem is it's almost to the point where everybody, social media, mainstream media, the government, laws, uh, um, work, companies, everybody turns a deaf ear and a blind eye to the man if a woman comes out and says this. And it's like you and I have to be very careful about, like, I'm grateful that I'm in China because I don't necessarily have to worry about potentially being accused of such things. but you have to. And if I end up coming back to America, it seems like this is a potential thing. Just if, especially if like the podcast grows, if we get bigger, if we become more famous, then it's almost like if you get those conniving women who are like, I'm going to use this.
Honestly, my little stint of freedom, if you want to call it
Yeah,
that, it was like that too. It was like, you never knew what you're kind of going into a situation. Like,
right.
if I'm sitting at a bar having a drink and some girl comes and talks to me, it's like I don't trust that person to go alone anywhere with them, because
Yeah.
like all the crap going on, it's like, man, like all it takes is someone to just say that, and then now you're fighting for your life, you know. All it
And
takes is
you're
one lie
immediately
or two
caught.
lies.
You're
Yeah,
you're
yeah, and like there's no, and it's kind of like this whole thing. She comes out saying all of her stuff, and whether he did or didn't, you know, he's sitting there accusing her of abusing him, but at the same time, I'm not saying he didn't abuse her either. The point is like, as soon as it leaves her lips, the man is automatically guilty, no matter what. No
right.
matter what.
Anything that the woman says goes. It's accepted as the truth. No one questions it. If it's against the man, done deal. Guaranteed, the man's guilty. And you see that in this idea with Johnny Depp, and it sucks so badly. And now he's suing her because he lost out on Pirates of the Caribbean 6 because Disney's like, oh, I can't do, we can't have that kind of stuff. And also he lost out on Harry Potter, um, the most recent one. And I'm just like, but the biggest thing, the biggest issue is like now that we get the truth out, is she still working?
Yeah.
So it's
You
like
there?
this, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like this, it's like the catch 22. You don't really see it happen both ways. Okay, she abuses, yeah, but he's a man, he can take it. Now, I will admit, I've also thought this too. Like here in China, there are times where like I'll be walking down the street and I'll see a boyfriend and a girlfriend walking together, and the girlfriend is like upset, and the boyfriend's like trying to calm her down, and the girlfriend's like slapping him and hitting him and stuff like that. Like I won't necessarily step in because me personally, I'm like to an extent like number one, if I step in, like I'm a much bigger guy than most of the guys here in China. So me stepping in is not necessarily a good idea to like try and fend off both of them. But it's better if it's the guy hitting the girl, then I can like step in and prevent that from happening. But if a girl's hitting the guy, in my mind, I've even been like, oh, like he can handle himself, But the problem is like feminists want equality. Why is it not okay? Like, and I'm sure that there are feminists out there who believe that Amber Heard should lose a lot of money and should lose a lot of opportunities, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. But I would bet that most of them were like, well, I mean, she was in an unloving relationship. And so, like, obviously, she's got to, like, get out of there. And obviously, she's got to fight her way out. And so, it's perfectly okay for her to continue working and yeah, she did some bad things, so it was bad on her. It's like y'all are idiots. Like she should not only lose opportunities because she accused Johnny falsely of beating her, but also she's the one beating him. But again, there's no like focus on you know that. There's no attention drawn to that. It's like, what did Johnny do wrong?
The other thing is like, how to put it. I don't know how to formulate my thoughts, but like, definitely like the movie industry from like, I've heard old 007 movies where like the actresses actually have to sleep with the actors. So you never heard of that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there was actually sex scenes that actually went on, like when I think it was actually when Sean Connery was 007,
Huh.
which I'm not fact check that. I'm sure someone will, but the point is like, yeah, ever since then it's come a long way, and it's almost, what's funny is like, God, what was I thinking the other day? Like we've gone almost so far, but then we're going back the other way too. So we're not allowed. Oh, that's all I was hearing. I was watching the Hodge Twins the other day about science. They were talking about how XY chromosomes is scientifically proven, but now you're getting into where everybody's like disputing, like I wasn't born this gender. Science is wrong. And it's like, well, now we're going past it. Like now it's like there's no God and there's science, and now science is wrong too. So now it's just like, God, well, I mean, what are we coming to now?
Yeah.
Nothing. There's nothing to believe anymore. It's just whatever. It's whatever interpretation anybody wants to make of the world. And it's kind of like what is stopping us from just tearing each other apart or like lying about each other? I mean, clearly people lie all the time about each other and get away with it, and now you have to fight back just to survive. I mean, and that's what the world comes to now. It's like, I don't even answer. I don't even answer phone calls because I don't know who's calling me ever. Like I get calls all the time, and it's just like it's that whole thing about like there's scammers, there's liars, there's just a whole bunch of stuff you have to protect yourself against nowadays, and it's like I mean you could do nothing wrong to anybody and still have to worry about being lied about.
Let me give you this. Let me tell you this,
Run me
because I
back
because
in.
I still I I don't think that I don't think it's as bad as you're saying it is. But the reason why it seems like it, hold on, just hear me out. Just hear me out. The reason why it seems like it is because that's what we get fed so much through social media, through mainstream media. We get fed all this stuff about how the right is against the left and the left is against the right. The right is trying to destroy the left is trying to destroy the right. The problem is like mainstream media is on the extreme ends. They're the outliers. Social media even are on the outliers, where it's like, okay, if you're a left wing nut job, you're able to spew whatever you want to on Twitter. But if you're a right wing nut job, you're not allowed to do anything on Twitter. It's like, and to an extent, yeah, that's true. But
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's like I should be able to say what I want when I want, and that's just like LBGQ whatever lettering system it is now. That they have free reign to say whatever they want, do whatever they want, whatever. But the minute a straight, black, white, any kind of other person that doesn't agree with them, shut them down. You're infringing on my rights.
Mhm.
But where's my right? What's my right to say anything about it? And I'm not saying like I'm going out here like, hey, you're gay or any of this other stuff, which is I guess like the most simplest way to put it. It's like I'm not going out here just gay bash and stuff. But all I'm saying is like what really tickles me to death is like the fake news thing. Like we got all this stuff like, oh, that's fake news. That's fake news. This is somebody said something that he did this, and there's no proof of it, but it's all over the news
Mhm. Mhm.
as factual. You know,
But
granted,
what I
there's
would
a
say,
lot of
here's
text
here's
messages saying that mean things and hateful things, but the point is, it's like they shut down what they don't want anybody to see, and they blast everything they want everybody to see.
so to that extent,
I mean, it just
I
goes to show that social. I mean, you're right, not just social media, just any media feeds you what they want you to see.
but they feed you what you want to see. Like I
No,
think no. Here's the thing. The algorithms, because like if you get sucked into the algorithm like of Facebook or of YouTube or of Twitter or Instagram, if you get sucked into the algorithm where all of your, like, let's say I start putting out that I want to, like, football, for instance. I start following a lot of football accounts, and then all of a sudden my YouTube is flooded with football film. My Facebook is flooded with football groups. Now, one of the things that I think is the problem is that you can get sucked, if you get sucked into a certain, like, the right wing or the left wing side, and all you're seeing is right wing stuff, and those right wing things present a left wing, like, they're like, oh, this left winger or this liberal said this terrible thing, and that may be true, but it's not like every single person is on one side or the other. Like, there are moderate people. there, and I would say a majority of the people are moderates. But with the what's going on with social media and stuff like to an extent, like I would say one of the things to be mindful of is yeah, you like I think it's okay to be respectful if somebody comes and says, Nick, I want you to call me a he or a she or a they. Like, chances are I'm probably not going to, because in my mind, if you look like a girl, I might call you a she, even though you want me to call you a he or a they. And that's only because, again, it's confusing. Like, I'm confused. So for me, I'm probably just going to call you your name. Just give me your name, whatever your name is. I'm not using pronouns with you at all.
You
Like,
know,
I'm
that's funny.
literally
That's
turning you
funny.
into a name.
That's funny because that was one of the comments made by the Hodge twins. Its name is Jeffrey.
Oh, that one. I know. Okay, I know who you're talking about. I
Oh
know who
my
you're talking
god,
about.
that was
I
so
was I was
funny.
watching Paul Logan Paul's like podcast, and it had Logan Paul and it had Andrew Schultz. And
Oh
Andrew
man,
Schultz, yeah,
those are like the two worst. The Hodge twins, Angel Schultz, and then Logan Paul would be like,
the
man,
epitome of
just
like an amazing like podcast.
yeah,
But like
like this. They should
good,
just
good.
start their own thing together. You know, Andrew Schultz does his own. That man gets away with so much stuff.
But the thing is like but understand like he presents it, and the same with Dave Chappelle. Like they present that when they make jokes about like transgenders or gays or blacks or whites or Hispanics or any type of like whatever you may identify as, whatever your identity is consumed in, Christian, non-Christian, atheist, Jewish, Muslim, like whatever, they'll make jokes about it because that's like we need that. And we need dissension. Like we need people in our lives. The problem is like the reason why the algorithm sucks, and will lead into this idea of Elon Musk buying Twitter. The reason why the algorithm sucks is because you get sucked into a hole of just whatever it is that you believe, and you constantly you're reaffirming your own beliefs, or someone else presents a different idea that in your mind, well, clearly if this person says that this is true, then it must be true. And that's the problem that we're facing is like we don't have enough dissenters. We don't have enough people to uh, be able to challenge our beliefs and challenge what we see. I mean, like, and whether it's like something big, like your political affiliation, your gender, your belief on abortion or not, your belief on gay marriage or whatever. If it's not even like that major, maybe it's something like minor. Like if anybody dissents, now we get pissed off at them. We get so angry at them. It's like, how dare you say that Titanic is not the greatest movie on the face of the earth? What the hell is wrong with you? And it's like, guys,
The Titanic, really.
no, I just I threw that out there because there's a lot of Chinese people who
Wow.
love the Titanic. I think it's a terrible movie, but that's just me. And so, but it's that idea. It's that idea that if you dissent even on minor stuff that doesn't matter at all, it's like you deserve to die, or you need to burn in hell, or you need to go off and kill yourself. It's like, guys, like this is what our world is turning into because of the control that media has. And the thing is like that's why I'm really excited about Elon Musk buying Twitter. Is because I feel like what's going to happen is he's going to change the algorithm to where you get some dissenters, some people who are against you, who are arguing against your ideas. When you put out ideas, then you're it's no longer that you're like maybe he's like not going to allow you to block people who disagree with you, or not allow you to get rid of comments that are opposed to what you post. And I think that that's a huge thing. YouTube is going the wrong way. Google is going the wrong way. Facebook is going the wrong way, where they're not allowing, like Google, YouTube's not allowing the dislike anymore. I'm like, it's good to have a dislike. Like if you're like this person, and it's not even necessarily it's a negative thing. It's like maybe you put some stuff out there that's stupid, and so it needs to be disliked. Maybe we put stuff out there that's stupid, or we put out stuff that people don't like. Cool. Leave it in the comments. Let us know. Tell us something you don't like. Like Converse with us, please. Like, don't just sit there and come up with but have a good solid argument as to why you think that we're wrong, or as to why you think that there's something wrong here. Like, don't just put you're an idiot. Okay, cool. Congratulations, you've committed a logical fallacy. Like, that doesn't help in the argument, but allowing that to still be there. We have a bunch of weak people who can't handle
The,
being
the word
told.
the word I think you're looking for is not weak. Like, what is the word? Dang, I just lost it. Not weak.
Babies,
No.
children.
I mean, it would mean like weak, but God, what is it? Like they're not set in their ways. What is it? All right, continue. I'm sorry. I'm
Anyways,
trying to think of like a
no,
good
that's okay.
word.
Maybe it'll come to you. But the problem is we have so many weak people, and we say and they're so used victims. That's what you're probably looking for. No, okay. Like, everybody plays the victim card. Everybody's like, oh, he doesn't like my idea of music, so I'm gonna get rid of him. Or it may not even be like a wimpy response. Maybe like, you don't like my music? Screw you! Get out of here! And it's just like we react in anger, and it's like the problem is when you're surrounded by an echo chamber that tells you you're right, whether that's parents, friends, social media, mainstream media. If you're surrounded by what you want to be surrounded by, and you don't allow yourself to think critically about your stuff, about your beliefs, about what is going on in your life, if you don't do that, you're the reason why America sucks. Plain and simple. You're the reason why Americans can't stand being in America anymore. You're the reason why the continued divide of right wing and left wing exists. Is because you can't handle, you play the victim card. You can't handle somebody telling you that you're wrong. And that's a huge problem. Like, that's a massive problem. And it's not just young people. It's not just people who are younger than me or my age. It's also the old fogies. The liberals have answers for things. The conservatives have answers for things. And the problem is as we allow ourselves to be divided more and more, then and again, that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited about what Elon Musk is going to do for Twitter. Like, I think because Twitter seems to be the place where people get all of their news and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like I will admit, I understand what you're saying about the algorithm. You know, there's that little video on Netflix. I don't think it's even on there anymore.
The social dilemma.
Yeah, Social Dilemma. I think it's really been removed. Honestly, um, I'm gonna put a stretch on this. The greatest problem with our society is
Feminism.
yes. We should have never let the women vote. No, I'm just joking.
I'm going to cut that. I'm just going to cut that and then just put it.
But let me change it. The greatest problem for mankind,
Klondike bars.
especially nowadays, is you can always find something to support your idea. Meaning, I can interpret the Bible how I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I can find all social media or posts now that I want to. The news, anything. Oh, here comes the baby. Oh, sweet little baby. Hi, son. Do you want to say hi to Uncle Nick? Pause it.
I'll pause it. I'll pause it. So
What I was saying was,
you were saying that the
I know what I was saying. Calm down.
okay.
What I was saying was the problem with society and people as a whole is we're always going to find ways to support our ideas, you know. And I would almost go so far as to be all like, everybody is just a depression and everybody is just one depression away from being a Hitler, if that makes sense at all. Like you can always find, I say always, but you can find and support whatever you believe, you know, especially if that's all you're looking for. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like humans are already their own algorithm, you know? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like, now then we have social media that has an algorithm that's just feeding into your nonsense already. It's like a never ending cycle. You know, that's my biggest issue, like even with like Christians. It's like, you know, I guarantee it, you and dad get in arguments. I don't guarantee it, but I would say you and dad get in arguments about things that the Bible say, and each Bible verse that you quote supports your idea, and each Bible verse he quotes will support his idea. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just all it is. It's just interpretation of it, you know?
Okay. I would. The thing is, so I would disagree that it's.
Of
I would
course you would.
agree. I would disagree that the reason why what the biggest problem is with our society now is that people have access to go and build their argument and have like some form of proof with it. The reason why I would disagree with that, the only reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think that is a problem, absolutely 100%. But that's a symptom of the actual problem. The
Oh, what's the
actual problem,
actual
because
problem?
the actual problem is that either they were people have been coddled too much, told that
Mm.
they're great, told that everything that they believe is correct, and no matter what anybody says, if they disagree with you, they're wrong. That's whether that's through education, through parents. Like I would say education and parenting have are the biggest problems that we have now. Because whether it's a parent telling the child how great and amazing they are, when mothers or fathers tell their children that they're the greatest, and then they get out into the world and the world tells them, no, you still have a lot of work to do, they're like, no, that's not right, that's wrong. Or if a teacher says, oh, you're great, but we don't really like go into um, the issues, the problems that are going on like in class, like oh, don't worry about your grades, like that doesn't really mean anything. No, they mean something. It means like whether you're learning or not. Oh, it's okay. You can go and major in whatever you want to major. No, you can't, because if you get out into the real world, like the real world doesn't have any use for an undecided
Marketing majors.
bachelor's or a liberal arts bachelor's. Like,
Liberal
is it a
arts.
good? There are, or like a language arts bachelor's. Like there are certain things. I mean, you can be a teacher, sure. You can go and do. There are certain things you can do with it, but if you're thinking you're going to make lots of money being an artist, you might, but the number is significantly lower than if you went and you got like a business degree or an engineering degree or a doctoral or worked on medicine. I'm not saying like go and pursue something that you don't want to pursue. What I am saying is don't anticipate that if you graduate with an art degree, or if you graduate with a language degree, or if you graduate with something, don't anticipate that the world is just going to kowtow to you and say, "Oh, we're sorry." Like you're absolutely right. You should make $100,000, $200,000 a year because you have that degree. No, like that's not the real world. The real world doesn't work that way. But if your parents have always said that it does, or your teachers always say that it does, they don't teach you how to handle adversity. That's the problem. People can't handle adversity, and they don't want to handle adversity because they've been kind of trained and raised in such a way to not be able to handle adversity. Now, I would go as far as to say it's because we have a weak male population. Not weak
Well,
as
let
in
me
like
let me let
overnumbered.
me interject here because
Go
I
ahead.
feel like you won't stop talking for a minute.
Yes, sure.
Um, what you're saying is everybody's being coddled these days.
Yes.
Um, I think of the movie Major Pain. You know,
I know exactly what you're going with.
Excuse me. What did you say?
I didn't stutter. I said, pop your titty out his mouth and stop babying him.
I don't call it babying. I call it nurturing.
And I call it neutering.
I would agree with that. Yeah, there's a lot of coddling, but then the problem is people like me and you are just just trying to make it, like not really like not trying to like not make waves, but it's just like God, like who cares? You know, that's how we act almost. That's how
Mhm.
I act. Like who cares? Like get over yourself, right? But it's like I really should be out there like pushing my agenda because who else is going to push it? You know what I mean?
And I think as long as your agenda is like something along the lines, like my personal agenda,
Yeah,
like
but
and it's grown over the past couple of years. My personal agenda is pushing out that you need some dissension in your life. You need some adversity in your life. You need to be able to fight, like, or be able to. You need to be able to argue your belief, your reason, but you need to be able to argue it in good faith, meaning actually being open minded to whether you're right or wrong and being able to actually understand, not just yell at the other person, but like actually be mindful of like, what are your sources? My motive now, I think, is to push people to not only do critical thinking, not only do critical thinking of their own beliefs and stuff, but also do critical thinking of things that people have told them to believe. And
right,
especially with my students, like with my students now, like I'm constantly trying to tell them, listen, like the things you believe deep down may be right, but also like you've got to challenge those. The things you've heard from mom and dad may be right, but you also got to challenge those. Like you can't go on mom and dad said so anymore. With critical thinking, like you've got to be able to go and believe, like you've got to go and understand, challenging what you hear until you can actually show that it's right, challenging what you believe until you can actually show that it's right. I mean, from day one, people have called me devil's advocate. Dad knows that I play devil's advocate. Pretty much anybody that's close to me knows that I play devil's advocate. It's not because I disagree with what you believe. It's not even that. It's just I want to test you based on your ability to defend what you believe besides delving into logical fallacies. Like, can you actually show me why abortion is bad? Why gay marriage is wrong, if you believe that? Why the
mm,
liberals are terrible, if you believe that? Why the Republicans are terrible, if you believe that? Why China is such a bad country, if you believe that? Why America is a bad country, if you believe that? Show me why.
do I agree with Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Mm.
No, I do not.
Okay, why?
Not because they can't do it, but because you're giving, I don't know how to put it. Like he's already got so much. Then he buys Twitter. It's kind of like Jeff Bezos too. It's like you already got so much. You're just creating a monopoly for yourself. You know, granted, it's not a monopoly of all the same things, but if you remember correctly, we always believed that a monopoly was never a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he's creating. He's creating Twitter, which will be his monopoly. Probably because he likes to tweet a lot about himself. You know, Dogecoin. Anytime that man tweets anything about Dogecoin, it jumps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, SpaceX, Tesla. All I'm saying is how to put it. Like it's kind of like he's creating himself a unfair advantage, if you will.
Let me go with you on this really quick
But let's say
because
he owns Twitter, right? And then on Twitter, he only posts anything about NASA being a horrible place to work.
I don't think he would, because SpaceX and NASA have like the relationship. Now he may say Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos's space program. He may say Blue Origin
But you get
is
you
bad.
get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
I'll present these to you. So number one, a monopoly is not so much you owning a bunch of different companies. That's not a monopoly. That's not what
No,
we call
monopoly is all owning the same, like you
same
would
type of
own
company.
Ford, GM,
Right, right. And
Honda,
so
and all of them
and so
together.
and so
Yeah,
to
I
that
understand.
okay, so to that extent, him owning Twitter isn't necessarily a monopoly. Now, does that mean like that? And here's where the telling thing will be. He says that the reason, probably one of the biggest reasons why he's buying Twitter is because there needs to be free speech. Because the problem is, like you said, the problem is right now, pretty much anybody who's on the hardcore alt left liberal area, they can post whatever they want and nobody challenges it. No one can challenge it. If you do challenge it, then all of a sudden you get thrown out because you break the Twitter or the comment rule or some kind of policies that they've got about like hate speech or dissension or whatever. And so what he's saying now, in time we'll see if this actually happens. But what he's saying is he wants to take Twitter private, not to allow it to be public. And I think that that's a good thing because then all of a sudden he's not beholden to advertisers per se. That being said, he has SpaceX and Tesla. And the true test will be if someone puts something out there against Tesla or against SpaceX, is he going to allow that to be there? Because what he's saying is he will. He wants there to be dissension. And I love that. And I 100% support that. As you should. You should 100% support if somebody owns it and you can have discord. You can have dissension. You can have disagreements on Twitter and no one's going to kick you out.
Well, and if he does that, fine. I'm all for that. But like I said, we will see, right?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, yes, we will see. And I think if he doesn't do that, I think Twitter will just
die out.
But if he does it, I mean, that man can make some serious money with Twitter. I mean, I think there will be. I mean, I think it'll be a really, really good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening on your podcast app, please hit the subscribe button. Also, leave us a review that helps us to be able to reach out to other people. If you are watching us on YouTube, click the subscribe button. Click that bell. That way, it can notify you when we post new videos. Click the like button. And then leave us a comment in the comments below because we want to hear what your ideas are on everything that we talk about.
So that's Nick. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nick. He's Andrew.
And like always, you have an open invitation to our conversations.
Bye-bye.